You'd never think a quiet suburb like ours could turn into a battlefield. But that's exactly what happened one crisp morning. Picture-perfect lawns, trimmed hedges, kids on bikes, the kind of place where everyone waves and nobody locks their doors. That was our neighborhood, or so I thought. I'm Ethan, a dad who's seen a share of chaos, but nothing prepared me for the day my daughter, Mia, got cornered by two thugs posing as HOA enforcers. Well, they didn't know. I'm the state's attorney general, and they just picked a fight with the wrong family. Mia's 16, tough as nails, but she's got a limp from a car accident years back. She uses a cane, but you'd never catch her asking for pity. Every morning, she insists on walking to school alone, cane clicking on the sidewalk, her chin up like she's daring the world to slow her down. I used to watch her from the porch, proud but nervous, trusting our cozy little street was as safe as it looked. That morning, I was sipping coffee, half awake, when I saw her head out. The sun was barely up, the air cool and damp. Everything seemed normal until it wasn't. A neighbor's frantic call jolted me. "Ethan, there's two guys pinning Mia on the street." My heart dropped. I bolted outside, the smell of wet grass hitting me as I ran. There she was, my Mia, dwarfed by two big men in tactical vests, bold letters screaming community patrol. They'd jumped out of a black SUV, blocking her path, one of them gripping her cane like it was a weapon. "This is private HOA property," the taller one barked. "You're trespassing." Mia, trembling but defiant, stammered, "I'm just going to school." "Let go." The other guy, stocky with a buzz cut, leaned in close. "Keep resisting, and we'll cuff you." My blood boiled, but I forced myself to stay calm. I needed answers. "That's my daughter," I said, stepping closer. "What the hell are you doing?" The tall one sneered, "Back off, buddy. She's violating HOA rules." "We're authorized." Authorized? Something was off. Their badges looked like dollar store props, their patches sloppily stitched. Were they rent-a-cops? Hired goons? I glanced at Mia, her eyes wide, her hand shaking on her cane. She was trying so hard not to cry. A neighbor peeked out, filming with her phone, and the tension thickened. These guys noticed, but didn't back down. That they doubled down, VYing a crumpled paper they claimed was an HOA directive, spouting nonsense about no pedestrians on restricted paths. "We can detain her for non-compliance," the stocky one growled. Mia tried to argue, "This sidewalk's public," but they ignored her. I stepped closer, my voice low. "I know the law. Let her go, or you'll regret it." They smirked, unimpressed by the guy in jeans and a t-shirt. The tall one shoved Mia's cane aside, making her stumble. She winced, clutching a hedge to stay upright. That was it. My restraint snapped. "Final warning," I said, stepping between them and Mia. The stocky guy shoved Minna hard, but enough to make a point. "One more step, and you're both in cuffs." A neighbor across the street shouted, "They're not real cops, Ethan. Call the police." The men flinched, their confidence cracking. I pulled out my phone, dialed 911, and kept my voice steady. "Two men are detaining my disabled daughter on a public sidewalk." The operator promised units were on the way. The men, still acting tough, rummaged through Mia's backpack, demanding some fake HOA permit. It was surreal, like a bad movie playing out on our street. Neighbors started gathering, phones out, recording every second. Then, out stormed Helen, the self-proclaimed HOA queen, in a bathrobe, clutching a clipboard like it was her scepter. "Ethan, your daughter's been warned about this sidewalk," she snapped. "It's private HOA property, and my officers have every right to stop her." I nearly laughed. "Your officers? They just assaulted my kid." Helen waved her clipboard dismissively. "They're our security task force. I authorize them to protect this neighborhood from unauthorized foot traffic." Mia stared, tears brimming. Helen pressed on, "It's not personal, but your daughter's suspicious, limping through here every day without permission." The crowd went quiet. This wasn't just about Maya, it was Helen's power trip, targeting a kid with a cane. "Helen," I said, barely containing my anger, "these men are impersonating officers. You're making a huge mistake." Before she could respond, sirens wailed. Two police cruisers rolled up, lights flashing. The fake cops shrank back, their bravado fading. A tall female officer stepped out, scanning the scene. Mia clinging to me, the men in their fake vests, Helen gripping her clipboard, and half the neighborhood watching. Helen launched into a tirade about trespassing teens and HOA authority. The officer listened, then turned to me. "Sir, is this your daughter?" I nodded. Mia's voice shook. "They grabbed me. Said I was trespassing." The officer frowned. "This sidewalk looks public." Helen cut in. "It's ours. The HOA owns all communal paths, and I gave these men arrest powers." The male officer raised an eyebrow, eyeing the plastic badges. "Show me credentials pro-vying you can arrest anyone." The tall fake cop mumbled about HOA guidelines. The stocky one looked ready to bolt. I spoke up. "I'm familiar with zoning laws. This sidewalk's public domain. My daughter has every right to be here." Helen scoffed. "You don't know what you're talking about, Ethan." I let my voice drop. "Helen, you don't know who I am." The male officer interjected. "Sir, hands where I can see them. We're investigating impersonation." Helen tried to interrupt. "I'm the HOA president. I pay for these patrols." The female officer shut her down. "Paying men to play cop is a crime, ma'am." I stepped forward. "I want to press charges for assault and unlawful detention." Then I reached into my pocket. The stocky guy tensed like I might pull a gun. Instead, I flipped open a black wallet with a state seal. "I'm Ethan Carter, Attorney General of this state. This is beyond unacceptable." The crowd gasped. Helen's face went white. The fake cops looked like they'd been punched. The female officer studied my ID, then nodded. "Attorney General Carter, let's take your statement." Helen stammered. "You never said." I shot back. "Why should I? Everyone deserves to walk safely." "Helen." The male officer cuffed the fake cops, their heads hanging as neighbors filmed. Mia sobbed, burying her face in my shoulder. Helen tried one last defense. "You can't arrest them. They were following my orders." The officer shook his head. "Unless they're licensed security, they've got no right to detain a minor." Helen turned to me, desperate. "Ethan, can we settle this quietly? Mia's fine, right?" My voice trembled with rage. "You had your goons terrorize my daughter, snatch her cane, and nearly knock her down. Don't you dare ask me to hush this up." The police hauled the fake cops away. Neighbors surrounded Helen, her clipboard now a pathetic shield. "Ethan, we can fix this," she pleaded. I didn't answer, guiding Mia home as the crowd murmured support. Inside, I sat her on the couch, handed her water, and tried to calm my racing heart. This wasn't just about Mia. If these men targeted her, who else had they bullied? I made calls to my office, asking for discreet checks on Helen's HOA. A colleague hinted her charter might be expired, sparking a suspicion. What if her whole operation was a sham? That afternoon, I VY-sided the county clerk's office, Leah VYing Mia with my sister. The clerk's face tightened as she pulled records. "Attorney General Carter, this HOA dissolved 5 years ago. No renewals filed." My jaw clenched. Helen had been collecting dues, funneling them into a personal account. She wasn't just a control freak, she was running a scam, terrorizing residents under a fake banner. I took copies of the records, my hands shaking with fury and satisfaction. The next day, neighbors shared their stories. One got fined due lot 200 for wrong flowers. Another faced threats over parking. Each tale painted Helen as a petty tyrant. I gathered statements, receipts, and EVY denke of her personal accounts. Mia watched, asking, "Are we taking her to court?" I squeezed her shoulder. "We're stopping her from hurting anyone else, kiddo." My office launched an investigation. I recused myself to avoid bias, but the facts were damning. Local media caught wind after a neighbor's VY Deo went VY Rao. Disabled teen detained by fake HOA, cop's father's the attorney general. Helen's angry face was plastered online, racking up thousands of VYUs. Reporters swarmed, but Helen knocked on my door, eyes red, holding an envelope. "Ethan, I'm sorry. It got out of hand." She handed me a cashier's check tens of thousands of dollars. "Take it. A donation. Let's keep this quiet." Mia, watching from the couch, tensed. I shoved the check back. "Justice isn't for sale, Helen. Get a lawyer." That night, I sat with Mia, talking through her fear, the moment that tall man yanked her cane. She whispered, "I felt so helpless. I promised we'd see this through for her, for everyone." My staff confirmed Helen's HOA was defunct. She'd pocketed overdue $200,000 in dues, using some for personal expenses. Residents pro VY dead, fake letters threatening legal action. The fake cops flipped, admitting Helen hired them as enforcers, claiming she had a deal with local police. Lies. The prosecutor issued an arrest warrant. 2 days later, Helen was cuffed in her bathrobe, trembling as neighbors watched. Mia, at our window, exhaled, "Dad, I can't believe this started with a walk." The trial was swift. EVY Denke piled up. Forged documents, phony badges, stolen funds. Helen claimed she meant to protect the neighborhood, but the jury wasn't fooled. She got 12 years for fraud, impersonation, and conspiracy. The fake cops were convicted of assault and impersonation. When the gavel fell, Mia gripped my hand, relief washing over her. Outside the courthouse, I ignored reporters, focusing on Mia. She didn't want fame as the Attorney General's daughter. She just wanted normal. Weeks later, the neighborhood changed. Freed from Helen's grip, people painted fences, kids played freely, and a real HOA formed transparent, community-driven. They built a garden where Mia was stopped, inviting her to plant flowers. She laughed, dirt smudging her jeans, a far cry from that terrifying day. A plaque went up, "Never let fear decide your path." Mia blushed, not wanting to be a hero, but neighbors insisted. Her courage had exposed a fraud, uniting us all. Sitting on our porch one evening, Mia sipped tea, the sky orange and pink. "It's weird," she said. "I'm kind of glad it happened. It showed how far people will go to control others." I nodded. Bullies don't always look like bullies, but when you stand up, they crumble. We sat in silence, the air crisp, knowing we'd faced a nightmare and come out stronger. Mia's story became a local legend. The girl on a cane who toppled a fake empire just by walking to school. Now, I've got questions for you. Was Helen a mastermind or just a desperate control freak? Should Ethan have revealed his title sooner to stop the chaos? Or was his restraint the right call? Could Mia's disability have been exploited intentionally by Helen's goons? Or were they just clueless bullies? And what would you do if fake cops try to cuff your kid on your street? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're with Mia, and subscribe for more stories where truth takes down tyrants. Let's talk. Whose side are you on?